Hi Libras, Trishna here. Welcome to your March 2020 Love Tarot reading. In this video, we're going to do things a little bit differently than I have in the past. I'm still going to start the video off with the intuitive portion, and then I'm going to follow that up with the tarot reading portion. But what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to focus on your energy, and then I'm going to focus on your partner's energy, and then I'm going to focus on your collective energy together as a relationship or partnership. Keep that in mind as you listen to this reading, because in relationships, in basically every relationship, whether it's romantic or family relationships or relationships with friends or colleagues, there is always some form of mirroring going on. So keep that in mind as you listen to the reading, because sometimes I may be referring to your energy, but it actually represents your partner's energy. Sometimes I may be referring to your partner's energy, but it actually matches your energy. And there's a lot of crisscrossing that can happen. So just something for you to keep in mind. So with regards to the intuitive portion of this reading, Libra, I feel like with regards to your energy, I feel like you feel good about your relationship. I feel like you have a little bit of confusion on where things are going to go. I feel like that confusion isn't really very worrying. It's not very concerning. It's not something that you are stressed about. The Cancers, they are also wondering where their relationship is going to go, but their situation is very different. In their situation, they have no idea what the next step is, what the next milestone could even be. In your case, you're not sure what the next step is, but you know what the next milestone is. So you know what all the milestones are. You know that this relationship has the potential for a long-term future. Maybe there's engagement, maybe there's marriage, maybe there's having children. So you know that there are milestones there to be achieved. Maybe there's going on your first trip together, maybe there's meeting the parents. So there are all these different milestones, and you're pretty confident, pretty optimistic that those milestones are something that can happen for you and your partner. So, but for you, you're wondering, like, what is the next step to get to that next milestone? That's where your confusion is. But because you know that there is a milestone that the two of you can reach, you're not like, it's not this huge, wide open net of uncertainty. It's like, you know where you're headed, you're just not sure what the next step is to fill in the gap between where you are now and where you're headed next. So I feel like overall, Libra, your energy is in a pretty positive place. You're feeling good about the relationship. You know that there is direction in the relationship, and you're confused about how to get to that next step, but you know that there is a next step. So it's not something that you are worried about. Now, your partner's energy feels a little bit different to me. I feel like your partner is somebody who, I feel like their energy is kind of in this distant place, or maybe they're just not in a good place emotionally right now. And I feel like for them, there is a certain area of their life that impacts all the other areas of their life. If that area of their life doesn't go well, they have a hard time being present in the other areas of their life. So for example, for some of you, your Libra, your partner, may be like a computer programmer, or this area of life may be their career. And when their career is going fine, they find it really easy to be happy. They find it really easy to connect with you and to be very present in your partnership. They find it very easy to be happy and jolly around their friends and their family. But if their career isn't working out, if they're confused about their career or something doesn't go well in their career, they get confused about every area of their life. Like, that confusion seeps into everything. And if things aren't going very well in their career, or they're stumped on something, they are very focused on their career, and it takes over their entire mood, and they can no longer be very present in their relationship. In your relationship, in their relationships with family and with friends, they just can't show up. They start becoming distant. It's like they just get lost in the confusion of their work. And I feel like they might be in one of those states right now. And so that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling for them, is like they're not as connected to you, because when they're not feeling good about their work, they can't emotionally connect to people. They become very distant. They become a little bit reclusive. They kind of disappear in some ways, and that's what I'm feeling with their energy right now. When I feel into your collective energy, I feel like there is, a little bit of a roller coaster ride. You're I feel like or you're about to find out that your partner becomes distant when a certain area of their life doesn't go well for them. How they approach every other area of their life is dependent on how well this area of their life is going for them in that moment. And when they become distant, when that area of their life isn't working out, and they're no longer like emotionally present in the relationship that you two share together, it can feel like things are coming to an end. It can feel like your relationship is over, or it's about to be over. And so, and I feel like those feelings that you have, like, is this coming to an end? Is this over? I feel like those are, um, they're not mistaken, they're not trivial, because your partner may actually break up with you in those times. They may actually decide that they want to break from you in those times. They may actually start ignoring you during those times because they just lose themselves. They lose themselves. So this the way that they're acting in the relationship doesn't really have anything to do with you and your relationship. It has everything to do with them. And Libra, I'm going to give you like two kind of pieces of guidance. The first one is the one that you're not here, like you're not here to watch. Like you don't come to this channel to hear the advice that I would give. You come here to hear the advice that I'm getting, like spiritual guidance or like from the cards or, that kind of guidance. But I'm going to share both. So, for me personally, like when I feel into this, I'm just kind of like that, just their way of dealing with life and the situation and allowing it to seep into everything, including your relationship, even though they're so unrelated. That to me is like a little bit of emotional immaturity, or somebody who's not really ready to be in a serious relationship. And I would kind of mention that and just be like, keep that in mind if you're going to be interested in this person. Just, is this really what you want? But the guidance that I'm getting for you is, this is something that is going to happen. This person is always going to try their best, even though they break up or they want to take breaks or they start becoming distant. I feel like they always end up running back to you within a few weeks, or they're going to if this hasn't happened yet. And so they obviously love you. They obviously, the moment they're feeling better, they want to come back to you. And actually, what you don't know is, even when they're being distant, even when things aren't going well in that area of their life and they are ignoring you or taking a break from you, really what they want most is to be with you. What they want most is to be close to you. They just don't know how to separate the disappointment of that area of their life from the rest of their life. Like, they just get so consumed by it. So they love you even when it seems like they don't. They love you even when they're leaving you, even when there's taking space from you, even when they're ignoring you. They love you and they actually want to be with you. That is what I feel from them. So if you would like this relationship to continue, I feel like you have to eventually learn that this is just kind of their pattern and that they are doing their best. They don't want to be somebody who breaks up with you every single time something doesn't go well in that area of their life. They don't want to be somebody who wants to take a break or who starts distancing themselves or starts ignoring you. They don't want to be like that, and they will always try to do their best, but they are not really capable of doing much more or being much better in this area than they are right now. Like, this is something that is just kind of always going to be there. So, if you would like to be with this partner, you kind of have to get used to their rhythms and giving them space in this respect. And I think that if you do that, because they will be trying their best, it won't really show up in the effort, but their intentions will be to do their best. And then with you combining that with you understanding that it's not over whenever this happens, that this is just them processing through this area of their life. For whatever reason, it's harder for them to process through this than it is for you. And that's just different personalities and different people and, just differences between people. And so so them doing their best and then you kind of not being as hurt by it and kind of just understanding like, hey, it's not over, it's okay, just let them do their thing, and when they need me, they'll come back. I think that those two things together will end up creating a relationship between the two of you where, yes, they may distance themselves, but they'll stop breaking up with you every single time. They'll stop taking breaks from you every single time. They might even stop ignoring you. They might. And instead what they'll do is tell you, hey, like I really need to work through this. And so they're letting you know that they're working on something versus just like not saying anything. So that's like kind of them not ignoring you. It's like they're letting you know in advance, like, hey, I just gotta work on this, I'll be back. So I feel like your relationship will evolve to one where you actually can be committed and you Libra can feel settled in your relationship, and you won't always feel like, hey, are we breaking up? Is this over for real? Because they're gonna stop breaking up with you. They're gonna stop taking relationship breaks from you. They may need a little time and space, but you two can live in the same house and have a family together and everything, and they just like spend a little more time in their office or something like that, taking space and working through things. But they're there in the house. They're there still committed to the family and to you. So I hope this makes sense. It's like they'll never really be somebody who can be present while dealing with issues in this area of their life, but like emotionally present, but they will do their best and they will be committed the entire time versus right now where they're kind of on and off, hot and cold. So Libra, that is what I'm getting for you with respect to the intuitive portion of this reading. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards and see what more we can get on your energy, their energy, and the energy of your relationship together. All right, Libra, so for this video, I am using the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed. And the cards that I got for your energy are the Emperor and the Tower card. So what this is telling me, Libra, is I feel like the Emperor represents that you are taking an observer role. You're kind of sitting back, you're looking at the situation, you're observing it, and you're being very objective about what you see. I feel like you're trying to see things for what they are. You're trying to see things so that you can make a decision on how to proceed, what direction to go in. And I feel like you are the more mature person in the relationship, and remember that mature is not necessarily related to age. So, but I feel like you are the more mature person in this relationship. I feel like you have some fears about the relationship. I feel like that also ties back into what we talked about in the intuitive portion about the collective energy and how sometimes you're worried that things are going to completely end because that's how your partner sometimes shows up in the relationship, as wanting to break up or take a break or ignoring you. So I feel like you do have some fears, but I feel like you're holding very strongly and you are trying to be very objective in how you look at things and really trying to see things as they are so that you know how to proceed in the best way possible. With the Tower card, this generally represents that your relationship is built on a very faulty foundation, and as a result, everything is going to come tumbling down so that things can be rebuilt on a better, stronger, like good foundation going forward. For you, Libra, I don't feel like your relationship is built on a faulty foundation. I really just don't feel that for you, and I think that you feel the same way. Like that's how you see the relationship. You're like, it's not built on a faulty foundation. I do feel like your partner has a bit of a faulty mindset coming into the relationship, though. But they have a faulty belief system or something like that. And so for that reason, I think that's why I don't ever see your relationship completely crumbling, completely coming to the ground, completely breaking up and never being back together again. It's because the relationship is actually very strong and things are built very strongly on top of that very strong foundation. But there are these little issues in your relationship because your partner is coming into it with a mindset that is faulty, a mindset that is not very good or very strong. So I almost wonder if the two of you need to have some kind of conversation about their mindset on certain things and where it comes from and why they feel certain ways, or maybe why they act in certain ways. Not as like an interrogation, but just as a like, hey, let me help you out. Like, why are you stressed out, or why are you like acting out in this way? Acting out sounds a little bit abrasive, but like, you know, what's going on? Like, how can I help you? You know, what's stressing you out? Things like that. You know, to help you kind of understand better what your partner's is going through and like what their mindset actually is, and kind of help them walk through like why that mindset, you know, maybe help them realize for themselves like why that mindset doesn't really apply to your situation. Like maybe they've been hurt in the past, or you like certain triggers come up that are completely unrelated to you and your relationship, but they're coming up for them and they don't make sense in the context of your relationship, and this partner hasn't really realized that for some reason. So for your partner's energy, I got the Page of Water and the Three of Earth. And with the Page of Water, I feel like this is telling me that your partner has never been with somebody like you. There is something very, very special about you. They know that. They are very, very aware of how lucky they are to have you, how special you are, how you are not. The kind of person you are doesn't come around every single day. Like, you are rare. You are very, very precious. You are something that is really good in their life. So they're aware of that, but they're not used to that. They're not used to the kind of person that you are. They're not used to the kind of relationship that you bring to the table. They're not used to what you offer them in the relationship. And so they don't know how to handle the relationship. They are very much a fish out of water because they've always had a certain kind of relationship over and over and over again. And now you bring something new to the table that's amazing, but they're still operating off of old patterns. They're still operating as if they're with a different kind of partner. So you are a more evolved partner, I guess I would say, than they're used to. And so they've been in these relationships that were operating at a lower level. And so now that you come into the picture, they haven't learned yet how to operate at a higher level. So they're still operating at a lower level while you're operating at a higher level. And so they don't know how to match you. And that is what makes them a fish out of water. It makes them feel like that. It's like they know you're operating at this level and they're operating at this level and they don't know how to match your level just yet. So yeah, I feel like there's something else that I wanted to say here. Oh yeah, this is also why I think you are the more mature person in this relationship, is because you're operating at a more evolved level than they are, because they've never had the experience of being in a more mature relationship. So they're having to grow and learn through all of this. So that's just something for you to kind of know, so that you can help them through this process and understand them a little bit better as they go through this relationship with you, because they just don't know how to operate differently at this point in time. But with the Three of Earth, I feel like they are very committed to learning, to growing, and to being a partner who is strong. They want to bring strength to the relationship, because you are already bringing a lot of your strength to the relationship, and they want to bring some as well, because they realize that they're not doing that. They realize that maybe they're the weaker link in this relationship. And so they want to do that, and I feel like they understand now, or they're about to understand, that the strength that they need to bring to the relationship is different from the strength that you bring to the relationship, because strength comes in many, many different forms. And your version of strength is the more typical version of strength, of being emotionally strong, being very present, being very giving, wanting to be there to help your partner, supporting them all the time. That is the typical strength version of strength that happens in relationships. Your partner, though, is having to learn and is starting to realize that their strength doesn't mean that they can support you the way that you support them at this point in time. They're just not there yet on their emotional journey, on their mental journey. They just are not capable of that, but yet they still can bring strength. And their strength is being gentle. When they are in their weak moments, they can be strong in being gentle with you, instead of distancing themselves or being angry or taking their stress out on you or breaking up with you. That's them being weak and acting out of weakness. But they can feel weak in their moments, but act out of strength. And instead of breaking up with you or putting their stress on you, or just being harsh with you, they can be weak inside, but show strength where they're being gentle with you, where they're being kind with you, where they're informing you what's going on with them, and they are being compassionate towards the fact that you're having to deal with their issues too. So that is the level of strength that I think they're realizing that they can bring to the table, and it's very, very powerful. It is not at all less strong or less worthy than the strength that you bring to the table. And yeah, and maybe that's something that you need to realize as well, because I think you'll appreciate that kind of strength, that gentle strength that they are working on right now. But you had the very traditional version of strength, and you may not realize or look at their gentleness as equal to your support. You may think that their level of strength isn't as much as yours, but really it is the same. It's just different versions of strength, and both are equally valuable, equally worthy. It just equal on all levels. Different, but very much equal. For your joint energy, I got the High Priestess and the Six of Air. With the High Priestess, I feel like this basically also represents that the two of you need to have a conversation about your relationship. And I think this came up in the last reading, Libra, in the March reading, where the two of you needed to talk about a few things so that you could get on the same page. And I feel like the High Priestess is saying the same thing. It's saying, I think the two of you need to have a conversation about how committed each one of you is to the relationship. I think that you both need to decide if you're both in it to win it, or if you're not. And if the two of you decide that you are in it to win it, that means if your partner also agrees that they're in it to win it, then you both need to commit to that. And when you commit to that, that means that you're not going to break up at every single moment of issue. You're not going to break up when there's a little crack in the foundation. Your foundation's fine, but there's a little bit of crack in the window or something of your relationship. And so if you're committed including them, if you're both committed, that means that, like I was saying, you're not going to break up every time there's an issue, and instead you're going to commit. Because you're committing to the relationship, you're committing to working through every situation, you're committing to having conversations whenever there's an issue so that the two of you can put your heads together and find some kind of resolution or solution. So I think that's something, Libra, that you and your partner need to do, is have that conversation about how committed you are. I think that your partner is very committed. Like I was saying, you are very, very special, and they know that. They know what they have. So I think that you will like the answer that they give you when you two have this commitment conversation. And once you two start getting on the same page about that commitment, you need to both start operating that way, especially your partner. And I think that once you two do have this conversation and do get on the same page about this, your partner will start to realize that and like start operating a little bit differently, or like think twice before they start breaking up, because now they're like, wait, no, we're committed now, like officially, like we've had this conversation, and I need to not just be impulsive about my emotions or about my decisions in this relationship. I don't think whenever they've broken up with you or taken breaks with you, or if they're going to do that, that they've ever been impulsive about it. I feel like they really know what they have with you. Like they absolutely love and adore you, and they know how special you are. And so they've always put a lot of thought into those breaks or ignoring you or something like that. But they've always kind of come to that decision to do that, to ignore you or to break up with you or something, because they feel like they may be a burden on you or something like that. But now they will now I feel like this commitment conversation will help them think twice about that, even more so than they have in the past. So that's what I'm feeling with the High Priestess. With the Six of Air, I feel like this represents that you either have had these kinds of storms or you're about to have these kinds of storms, but despite that, you are both headed in a really positive direction in this relationship. So if this is a relationship that you want, I know that there are going to be some ups and downs, but it is headed in a positive direction. And like I was saying in the intuitive portion, I think that as you get used to their cycles, as they try to do their best to get better at this, and especially with these cards, as they try to be this Three of Earth and like bring strength to the table through gentleness and compassion towards you whenever they're being in this distant state, I think that there is like things can change. I'm not seeing them being too different. I feel like you're gonna have to do more of the adapting in the situation of more, and because they can only change so much. They want to change more, but they're only capable of so much. So I feel like you're the one that has to do more of the accommodating or adapting to their personality trait than they will be doing for you. Again, you are the one that's supporting them. You're coming from that position of power, and they're the one that is being more gentle towards you about how they act when they're in a moment of weakness. So I don't see full balance there for you just yet, but I feel like the two of you are moving in a positive direction, and maybe that is a possibility that could open up later, that the two of you would have a more balanced relationship. I'm not seeing that right now, as I was saying, like I don't see complete balance in your future, but things are moving in that direction, and energy potentials can change. So we will look into that as time progresses. So Libra, that is what I'm feeling for you for the tarot portion of this reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. As you know, I do extended readings as well. You can access them at my Patreon page. The link is at the end of this video. It's also in the description box below. It's www.patreon.com/Trishna. So if you're interested in that, I will see you there. We will go in more depth in each one of these areas, your energy, your partner's energy, and your collective energy together. So we're going to pull more cards for each one. So I will see you there if you're interested in that. If not, thank you so much for watching. I hope I earned your like and your subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.